Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Joel from Easy Engineering and welcome back to another video. So this video is going to be talking about how to recreate Deniz track Control within Ableton. And I'm really excited to talk about this track because it is one of my favorite tracks, and I just wanted to talk about, well, I wanted to focus mainly on the bass recreation anyway, because when listening to the track it just sounds like he has so much control over the bass, and I couldn't figure out how he done it. I didn't know if he was using 2 layers or just 1 layer, but I tried the 2 layers and it wasn't really working as well as I thought. Then I thought maybe he's using 2 layers, but the 1 layer is the sub layer acting, you know, as a sub layer, just as the baseline pattern and everything, and then there's a top layer with longer notes or anything just to kind of get that control that he has over the baseline, like you can see over here, just over here. You know, where he kind of automates the filter cutoff, but the bass line is still maintaining its integrity. It's a very interesting bass. It's taken me quite a while to get to it, but what I've essentially done is I've created a sidechain channel over here, and I've started using this in all of my tracks just to kind of keep my kick separate and keep my kick as its own kick rather than sidechaining everything to the kick. I will sidechain everything to a sidechain channel. It's kind of like a ghost channel, and here's one of the main reasons why is because when you take away the kick, especially with this technique, because what I've done with the bass is I've put it onto an arpeggiator, and when you take away the kick, obviously, let me just sidechain it. See, you kind of, you can kind of hear that it's hitting every note, and you can hear that it's on an arpeggiator. But when you have that sidechain, it kind of keeps that you know, pulsating bass feel to it, and this is similar to what he's done over here. See, while still you know, keeping the integrity and still being able to, you know, automate the bass, you know, filter cutoff and everything like that. So this is one of the main reasons why I use the sidechain channel within this track, because obviously I wanted to keep that pulsating bass, you know, just to keep that kind of groove going. But obviously you can't do that if your bass is sidechained to the kick, and then you obviously take the kick away to create that little break, and then your sidechain gets taken away or gets, you know, made redundant really. Anyway, going on to the bass line creation, I've created it in Operator, and it's just a simple saw wave with a low pass filter cutoff. I've kind of shaped the ADSR of my filter cutoff a little bit, just drop down the sustain and the decay. I've put the envelope up to about 60, you know, to 67%. And what I've done is I've set my filter cutoff to a macro, and also what I've done is I've set my gate of my arpeggiator to a macro, just to kind of get a bit of, you know, variation, but more, you know, modulation to the sound. The arpeggiator is on a 1/8 rate. That's to create that obviously bouncy feel. That's really cool. So what you can do is you can now then, you know, set that to a macro and just get crazy with it. Again, this tutorial is not to show you how to exactly, you know, copy your favorite artists, but it's more to try and get you thinking like they would, and just to try and think outside the box with certain techniques and approaches to how they create their sounds. Then going on to the group, so I've actually done some group processing, very simple. I started to use this for a lot of my bass channels anyway, just a simple glue compressor and EQ. It's always better to compress your dynamics first before you EQ it. I will probably get into that at a later video. I think it's very important. A lot of people, there's a lot of, you know, it's a gray area. There's a lot of controversy behind it, like, oh, what goes first, EQ or compression? But it was actually told to me in the beginning of the year by, it wasn't told to me by Bobby Ozinski himself, but he did reinforce it, and it was actually Ethan Weiner, who's an amazing engineer, and he obviously kind of gave me a lot of guidance and explained why it's best to compress before you EQ. And essentially, when you EQ before you compress, you can have all these crazy EQ settings, but then when you compress it, you're kind of ruining what you've done. You've kind of, you know, going back on what you've done. But again, like I said, later I'll discuss that at a later video. I've done some EQing on the kick, as you can see over here. Just kind of shaped it a little bit more, added a drum bus and a compressor just to obviously shape the sound to how I feel I like it. Going on to the processing of my bass, I've added a drum bus first just to kind of boost those low ends, boost those harmonics, and then I've shaped these harmonics a little bit. I've taken out a lot of the sub because my kick is sticking with that, and because I have my bass on an arpeggiator, it means it's hitting every note, which obviously means I need to declutter or demuddy my low end. Then I've gone and added a saturator, just some slight light settings over there, and then obviously multiband, yes, my multiband compression, just to control the dynamics of the certain frequency contents, and then obviously my sidechain compressor sidechained to the sidechain channel. Wow, that was hard to explain. Anyway, going on to the percussion, obviously it's not exact, but it can never really be, and I think the whole idea here again is just layers. You know, percussion, when it comes to percussion, layers are so important, especially in techno music. Adding layers, taking out layers, you know, just to create a certain palette of different sounds, tones, frequency content, everything like that. And you know, obviously it's a simple pattern. You know, I've got two hi-hats, open hats. I've panned them right and left just to, you know, create more stereo width. Got my ride over here. And Deniz uses a ride in quite a lot of his tracks, if not all of his tracks. And then I've got a shake over here, and as you can see, I've just messed about with the velocity of the different hits over here just to create a nice groove. And then I've gone and actually just added a sidechain, well, an LFO tool just to get that movement going, and then obviously EQ'd it a little bit over here, you know, just to shape the sound and get the correct frequency content that I wanted from, you know, this shaker. I've added some group channel processing, so I've added an EQ8. Like I said, you know, obviously in the beginning of the video I said compress first before EQ, but because a lot of the sounds I like the frequency content of a lot of the sounds, and the frequency content I didn't like of the sound, you know, I've EQ'd it out anyway. So this is kind of just a global EQ. It's nothing major, it's just just that slight EQing just to add a little finishing touch onto it. And then obviously my glue compressor just to glue everything together. And then I've gone and actually added a sidechain compressor, and I've sent it to my sidechain channel just to get a little bit more movement within my percussion. And then I've got two claps, or two, you know, snares or claps that work very well together. Two different processing. So I've got on the one a reverb, because you can hear on this there's quite a nice reverb on the snare, very similar sounding. And then obviously my clap over here, look, as you can see, compress first, then I EQ it, and then I've just added a white noise, you know, just to kind of again keep within the main feel of the song. Going on to the lead sound, now I think I got very close to the pattern as well as the sound itself, but I think there's something slightly off about it that's just not exact. But again, you know, we're not trying to copy exactly, just to kind of get a little bit more better perspective on how these sounds are created and how the flow of the track is done. Anyway, going on to the synthesis of this sound, I have opened up an operator, and it is FM synthesis. So I've got two sine waves acting over here. What I've done is I've actually mapped my decay to both of the decays of the sine waves to a macro, just for more variation. And I've also mapped my filter frequency cutoff. Now you can see over here that the filter frequency is a bit different. I've added a bit of an attack to the filter cutoff, just to create a little bit more of a glide in with the sound, because it's quite a nice, gentle, not so plucky sound. And I've actually just dropped the sustain down completely, boosted the envelope to 24%, and I've actually boosted the spread to 100%. And that's pretty much it for the synthesis. Now again, like I said, it's not exact. Maybe he's using it, I feel like there's a little bit of a triangle sound waveform in the real sound. He could have been using two different instruments to create that one sound, you know, like I said, layers. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the sound over here. But I feel it's gotten really close, and it keeps again within the feel of the track, and it sounds really good. Anyway, my processing is just an EQ to shape the sound a little bit. I've added the delay. As you can see, it's on a 2-beat ping pong delay with the dry wet 37 feedback. I could probably boost the feedback a little bit more. Let's boost the dry wet. What you can do is you can also go and map these to your macros and just have a play around with it. And then I've added a reverb just to give that space, because it's got that very nice angelic melodic feel to it, space to it, I was going to say. And then I've gone and EQ'd it again a bit more just to shape it a little bit more. And then I've added a compressor with some medium settings to it. Now what I've done over here, just to kind of keep within the consistency of the track, just for the example, is I've kept this part, you know, with the vocal and everything, but what I've done is I've taken it, I've put it onto a track over here, EQ'd out the low end, EQ'd out the high end, just to try and zone in on the vocal, the main frequency content of the vocal. And what I've done is then added waves X noise, just to get, again, kind of get rid of all the unwanted frequencies and focus in on the certain frequency content that I wanted to highlight. I've gone and froze it, flattened it, put it to a new channel, and this was actually one way of really trying to highlight and listen in on the lead sound, just to try and replicate the pattern, but again also just to kind of keep within the field of the track. So yeah, there you have it. Again, like I said, it's the main focus of this video is the bass line, because I think this technique is an amazing way of really creating some groovy rhythms and kind of copying what Deniz does within his tracks, just to get that automated feel of those bass sounds that he has. But like I said, we don't want to copy him. This is a great technique. Use it in different ways. Use it in lead sounds, use it in bass lines, and just have a little bit more of an open mind. Think outside the box, and you can create some amazing stuff with it. And with regards to the leads, keep it simple, keep it melodic, keep in mind what makes a melodic sound, what brings some good harmonics to the sound. Keep it simple, and there you have it. What I will do is I will actually add in this instrument over here for you to download. I will also add in the lead instrument over here for you to download with all the processing on it and everything like that, and then just see for yourself what it was done. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave it here. If you did, leave a like and comment down below. If you want to see more of these videos, please hit that subscribe button, and also hit that little bell button on the side if you want to get a notification for when I next release a video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.